Hi all, hope all of you are doing good. In the previous lectures, we had discussed about the uplink control information and uplink reference signals. In this lecture, we'll understand about random access channels and the HARQ in the uplink. The uplink random access procedure is used during initial access or to re-establish uplink synchronization. Details about the random access procedure is provided in the next chapter. In this particular section, we'll describe the random access channel that carries random access preambles. As shown in the figure 8.11, there is the random access preamble consists of three fields. You can see one is CP, another one is sequence, another one is GT. It is CP of length TCP and a sequence part of length T sequence, and as uplink synchronization may not be established prior to the random access procedure, a guard time GT is provided. Here the GT is provided, is also needed to account for the round trip propagation delay between the user equipment and the eNode B. For that purpose it is used, and the values of TCP and T equivalent depend on the cell size and the base station implementation. There are 5 different preamble formats defined in LTE, which are specified in the table 8.10. Let us, this is repeated, please ignore. Now in this random access preamble parameters table, you can see there are 5 different preamble formats: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the corresponding TCP and T sequence values have been given over here. Here the format 0, it is for normal cells. Format 0 is used for normal cells. Format 1 is also known as the extended format, and it is used for large cells. For large cells, this is the configuration. TCP is 21024 into TS, and T sequence is 24576 into TS. And format 2 and format 3, these are used repeated preamble sequences to compensate for increased path loss. Whenever there is increased path loss, to compensate that, format 2 and 3 are used, and they are used for small cells and large cells respectively. Format 2 is small cells, format 3 is for large cells. And finally format 4, it is defined for frame structure type 2 only. Type 2 frame structure we have studied in the module 3. For that kind of frame structure, we are going to use format 4 as a default preamble. Okay. Now the network configures the set of preamble sequences that the user equipment is allowed to use. In each cell, there are 64 available preambles which are generated from one or several root Z of Chu sequences. In this 64 available preambles, the network configures the sequences that user equipment is allowed to use. Okay, and there is no intra-cell interference from multiple random access attempts using different preambles in the same cell due to Z of Chu sequences. So this random access of resources is done such a way that inter-cell interference from multiple random access attempts using different preambles in the same cell will not happen. Okay, and the physical random access channel PRACH resources within a radio frame are indicated by a PRACH configuration index, which is given by the higher layers. In the frequency domain, the random access burst occupies a bandwidth corresponding to 6 consecutive blocks, resource blocks, that is involving 72 subcarriers 12 into 6 you can say, in a subframe or a set of consecutive subframes. So in this way it is allocated the subcarriers for the particular random access member. The PRACH uses a different subcarrier spacing delta FRA than other physical channels, which is listed in this particular table. So preamble format from 0 to 3, the subcarrier spacing will be 1.25 kilohertz with NZC is 839, size 7. So preamble sequence length is this ZC. It should have been SC. Okay, please change that to SC, NSC, and size 7. For preamble format 4, it is delta FRA is 7.5 kilohertz with NSC is 139 and size 2. What is this psi? Psi is fixed offset. Okay, so in using all these particular preamble parameters in the random access, the continuous time random access signal generated or it can be defined by this equation, and the related terms are explained over here. You can just go through it. No need to remember, but you need to understand that how this particular random access signal is generated. Okay, and the different parameters associated with that. This is all about our topic random access channels. Okay, our next topic is hybrid ARQ in the uplink. As we have already studied in the downlink channel processing, HARQ means hybrid automatic repeat request protocol, you can say. The HRQ retransmission protocol is also used in the LTE uplink. So the eNode B has the capability to request retransmissions of incorrectly received data packets. Uplink HARQ process, the corresponding ACK or NAK, or you can say acknowledged or not acknowledged information, is carried on the PHI-CH, and the LTE uplink applies the synchronous HARQ protocol, that is the retransmission are scheduled on a periodic interval. Synchronous retransmission is preferred in the uplink because it does not require to explicitly signal the HARQ process number, so there is less protocol overhead. The number of HARQ processes and the time interval between the transmission and retransmission depends on the duplexing mode and the HARQ operation type. There are two types of HARQ operations in the uplink. One is the non-subframe bounding operation or normal HARQ operation. Second one is subframe bundling, sorry, not bounding, it is bundling, subframe bundling operation, also called as TTI3 bundling. So there are two modes. One is the FDD mode and the TDD mode. FDD, you know, frequency division duplexing. TDD means the time division duplexing. Remember that the HARQ operations in the uplink are different from the modes in the HARQ process. Remember that. Okay, in the frequency division duplexing mode, there are 8 parallel HARQ processes in the uplink for the non-subframe bundling operation and 4 HARQ processes for the subframe bundling operation. For the FDD mode with the normal HARQ operation, upon detection of an NAK in subframe N, the user equipment retransmits the corresponding physical uplink shared channel in sub. For the FDD mode, With the subframe bundling operation upon detection of an NAK in subframe n-5, the user equipment retransmits the corresponding first PU SCH transmission in the bundle in subframe n+4. This is the way the FDD mode works when there is a NAK or not acknowledged. Coming to the TDD mode, for the TDD mode, the number of HIRQ processes is determined by the downlink or uplink configuration listed in the table 8.12. You can see this table determines the HIRQ process, number of HIRQ process. TDD uplink or downlink configuration is listed from 0 to 6, that is 7 different configurations are there. In that, number of HIRQ processor for normal operation, they are given to be 7 for 0th configuration. For first configuration it is 4, and the number of HIRQ processes for subframe bundling operation is 3 and 2 for the first two, and it is not applicable for up to 5th configuration. And for the 6th configuration we have, there are 3 number of HIRQ processes for subframe bundling operation, while the number of HIRQ processes for normal HIRQ operation are likewise 2 for second one, 3 for third one, 4, that is 2 for fourth one, 1 for fifth one, and 6 for sixth one. So using this particular table as a lookup table, and depending on that, the TDD uplink or downlink configuration 1 to 6 and the normal HIRQ operation upon detection of an NAK subframe N, the user equipment in subframe N plus K with K in the given table 8.13. So apart from this, this table is used so as to detect the subframe number depending on the configuration of particular TDD uplink or downlink. Okay, the same has been explained over here. Please go through that. This completes the first part of the module 4. The second part of the module 4 we'll discuss in the next video lecture. Thanks for watching.